US-China relations are set to come into sharp focus at this three-day gathering in Munich. Tensions between the two powers continue to simmer after Washington recently shot down an alleged Chinese surveillance balloon over its territory. And for more on this, Olivia Xiong joins us live. She's in Beijing. Olivia, China's top diplomat Wang Yi also in Munich, and that's raising speculation about possible talks with the US Secretary of State. What do we know about the possibility of that actually happening?
Well, Dawn, we have to note that both sides, both China and the U.S., have not confirmed any of these talks. We haven't seen the Chinese side want to offer any details on whether there's even a possibility of these talks as well. But if it does go ahead, it would be the first time that the two top diplomats of China and the U.S. will be sitting down since this balloon incident took place. But whether or not it will happen, really is up in the air, so to speak, as we did see that U.S. officials say that China did not want to talk with their American counterparts in the military after the balloon was shot down. The balloon incident also leading to Secretary of State Antony Blinken postponing his trip that was planned to take place to China, a long-awaited trip that was supposed to set a floor, so to speak, to this deteriorating China-U.S. relations. But whether or not they will actually meet on the sidelines of the security summit will give us a good indication of just how much this balloon incident has affected China-U.S. ties. But for Mr. Wang, China's top diplomat, there's a lot more at stake here at this security summit. Besides China-U.S. relations, Mr. Wang is expected to give a speech in which the foreign ministry says he will share China's position on major international issues. And this does come at a sensitive time and just ahead of Mr. Wang's visit to Russia as well, and ahead of the 1-year mark since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And as we know, China has come under scrutiny and international pressure to do more to use its influence to reign in Moscow, as it so far has chosen to refuse to condemn the war. So likely that will be something that Mr. Wang will address. Also, another topic that observers expect Mr. Wang to address is Taiwan, as tensions in the Taiwan Strait have been incredibly tense as Beijing has been angered by the South Island's warming ties with the U.S. So it remains to be seen what happens and how Mr. Wang is going to position China on this international stage.
Olivia, relations between these two powers, they've sunk to a fresh low following that spy balloon saga. Beijing, we understand, it appears even less than keen towards Washington's calls for dialogue as well.
That's right. It's been a back and forth, a tit-for-tat sort of situation between China and the U.S. since this balloon incident began. The U.S. alleging that the balloon over its airspace is a Chinese balloon meant for surveillance purposes, but China refuting this, instead saying that it was an unmanned airship for civilian purposes. And this week we saw it point the finger at the U.S., saying that the U.S. had illegally flown its balloons over Chinese territory on multiple occasions, including over sensitive areas in Xinjiang and Tibet as well. Now, though, we are hearing U.S. President Joe Biden saying that he expects to speak to his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping, to get to the bottom of this. And that is a quote from Mr. Biden, adding he made no apologies for taking down the alleged Chinese spy balloon. When asked about the possibility of these talks, here's what China's foreign ministry had to say.
中国民用无人飞艇误入美国领空，完全是个意外偶发事件，但考验的是美方对妥善管控危机、稳定中美关系的诚意和能力。美方不能一边要沟通对话，一边激化矛盾、升级危机。
Well, even though there has been tough talk from the U.S., we are hearing the Chinese Foreign Ministry calling on Washington to work with it to return China-U.S. relations to a stable, healthy track, asking the U.S. to work with China to control the dispute over what it says was an unintentional incident.
Olivia, thank you for that. Olivia Xiong there reporting for us in Beijing.